Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Wednesday evening, November 13, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak of Atlantic hurricane season. That's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren. And subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Leave a comment down below, let me know what the weather has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at the US National Hurricane Center's 7-day graphical tropical weather outlook. And we can see that as of the latest update that just came out at 6:31 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So considering that it's 6:44 p.m. now, this just came out 13 minutes ago, and we can definitely see that we now have a potential tropical cyclone. That's PTC number 19. So we no longer have a code red. That strong tropical wave has now been designated a potential tropical cyclone. We know that it's just one step away from becoming the next name on the list, which is Sarah or Sarah. And we can definitely see it right here on the visible satellite images. Trying to get its act together, we can even see the spin, the low level spin associated with that system. Lots of clouds, showers and thunderstorms trying to wrap into its center of circulation. Trying to get one organized somewhere in there so that it can get the name shortly. If we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we can definitely see those fast low level clouds pushing in from the east to the west across Jamaica today. Lots of thunderstorms off to the south of us, but the heaviest of the weather can now be seen right there to the east of northeastern Nicaragua and eastern Honduras as we speak. The system is only expected to push right down in here for the next couple of days as it continues to interact with the broad airflow pressure. Then it pushes westward where it's expected to develop right there to the north of Honduras, right there. And then it's possibly going to be meandering somewhere in here while it is definitely developing maybe tropical storm status or even hurricane status. And regardless of what takes place right here, it's definitely going to be bringing a lot of rainfall to Jamaica right here. If we take a look at the Euro ensemble spaghetti model plot, we can see what's going to be taking place. The system should be pushing to the west, developing to a tropical storm in the greens, making it as far as hurricane status in the yellows, oranges, reds. We'll see exactly what unfolds if it actually makes it up there. We see the GFS ensembles showing something similar, pushing westward, then that stall back to the southeast, maybe hugging the coast of Honduras. We'll see exactly what takes place. Either way, by the end of most of these runs, we see that they take it to the northwest and then possibly push it back to the northeast close to the southern portions of Florida. And we see the intensity model guidance definitely in consensus that by the end of the day on Thursday, if not Friday, the system should make it all the way up to tropical storm status. By that time, we see all of these intensity model guidance making it up to the greens that represent tropical storm status. That's anywhere from the 36 all the way up to the 60 plus knot winds in general. Some of them even making it up to the yellows that represent hurricane status. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what takes place as this system continues to churn westward. And we can see that as of the Hurricane Center's latest update, it is now moving towards the west at 6 miles per hour. It is packing maximum sustained winds of 30 miles per hour. So it's definitely not yet a tropical depression. For those of you who don't know, potential tropical cyclone is just another fancy name basically that the Hurricane Center put into place since 2017. So that they can issue watches and warnings out for something that could develop into a depression or storm. So to be honest, it is still a strong tropical wave, but now they've designated it a potential tropical cyclone so that they can issue I believe this is light pinks right here across northern or northeastern Honduras. That represents hurricane watches up for those areas. And even the yellows that represents tropical storm watches up for northeastern Nicaragua, as the system is expected to push near there or over there, possibly developing into a tropical storm or hurricane as we head into Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And we see that the system is definitely going to be slowing down and meandering somewhere here by that time. And we see how close Jamaica is to this system. We're definitely going to be feeling some of the outer bands, lots of cloud showers and thunderstorms. Definitely going to be confirming this shortly. But we can see that as of right now, the system is right here at 7 p.m. to the southwest of Jamaica. So it's not even 7 p.m. yet, but they definitely have the update up. We're only 11 minutes away. And we can definitely see a lot of rainfall in store. For sure, the Hurricane Center's very own accumulated precipitation forecast. Something similar to what we've been highlighting on the other accumulated precipitation. We see the 20 plus inches of rainfall that are going to be in place for a portion of northern Honduras right there. Jamaica getting in on more of the greens and the yellows, especially across the southern portion of the island. Anywhere from 4 to 6 inches, that's 100 to 150 millimeters of rainfall. That's still a lot of rainfall that could definitely cause some amount of flash flooding. Alright, so we're going to be going out in time to the next 168 hours, just like as per usual. We're going to be first looking at the Euro model. Then we're going to be looking at the GFS model. We're going to be focusing our attention at the timestamp right here at the top. As usual, we're going to be going out to the next 168 hours. That's the next 7 days. Just to see what the models are showing for today, because we know they are forever changing with each and every update. So we can see what's taking place by, let's see, we're going to, here we go, 0Z on Thursday, 7 p.m. on Wednesday. So we're getting there, only a couple more minutes left till 7 p.m. and we see the system right here on the Euro model right there to the southwest of Jamaica. As expected, it's expected to push towards the west throughout the day on Thursday, but we still see some moisture into portion of Jamaica, so we're still going to be getting in on that rainfall even as the system is pushing away from us and heading right there closer to the northern coast of Honduras. We see it definitely intensifying on the Euro model right there, even more isobars, the pressure definitely lowering, the rainfall increasing, darker greens, yellows, oranges, reds, as we can see by the key on the right. It represents anywhere from 2 all the way up to what, maybe 12 inches of rainfall possible. So they're already getting in on the brunt of the rainfall as we head into late Thursday, Friday across Honduras. And look at Jamaica, still getting in on some amount of green to represent rainfall. And as we continue to go out in time, we see what takes place. The system is basically sitting on top of Honduras right there. Jamaica still getting in on some amount of rainfall. This is as we're heading into Sunday, Monday. Alright, there we go. Seems like it's starting to move away as we head into late Sunday into Monday, making landfall into the Yucatan Peninsula, maybe Belize, sections of the Yucatan Peninsula right there. So we see that the models have definitely shifted in terms of where the system is supposed to be going. Remember, a couple of days ago, it had it coming more so to the southeast, then possibly threading the needle between the Yucatan Peninsula and western Cuba. Now we see more of a track across the Yucatan Peninsula. Let us see if the GFS models are showing something similar. So let's stop it right there. The next 168 hours, that's 12Z on Wednesday, which is 7 a.m. on Wednesday, November 20. So let's go in time. We're going to be looking at the 12Z run of the GFS. Then we're going to be looking at the 18Z run of the GFS. So let's go in time. First of all, here we are at 7 p.m. on a Wednesday. We see the moisture to the southwest of the island. Some of this moisture already affecting portion of the island as we speak. As we go out throughout the day on Thursday, we see the system definitely trying to get its act together as it pushes towards west, towards Honduras. And we see what takes place as we head into Friday. Who knows, maybe this could be a strong tropical storm, if not hurricane status. Tightening of the isobars, lots of dark greens into the yellows, oranges, reds that represent even more rainfall Wouldn't be surprised if it's a hurricane by Friday, right there on the northern coast of Honduras. And clearly we still see Jamaica embedded in some amount of greens that represents anywhere from 1 all the way up to maybe 3 inches of rainfall still expected. As we continue to go out in time, Saturday we see the system definitely doing well, lingering in general into Honduras, even making landfall, pushing southward. And we see what's taking place. Jamaica still getting in some amount of rainfall by then. And then as we head into Monday now, look at what we see taking place. It's heading into the Yucatan Peninsula, something similar to what the Euro model was just showing. And then as we wrap it up at the end of 268 hours, we see what's taking place. Definitely pushing more so towards the north and east across the eastern Gulf of Mexico. We see the Euro definitely a bit more robust with the intensity as it heads into Florida. GFS showing something a bit stretched out. That's as of 12:01. Let us look at what the 18:01 of the GFS is showing. Alright, so as we go out in time, something similar heading into the western portion of the basin right there, brushing the northern coast of Honduras, or even making landfall over there. Definitely intensifying, definitely sinking to the south inland. We see the bout of moisture into Jamaica, even into Hispaniola and Puerto Rico, associated with that frontal system. And as we continue to go out into the early part of next week, we see definitely heading into portions of the Yucatan and then back out into the Gulf of Mexico. And then by the end of 268 hours, we see it making landfall in Florida. So all of them starting to make some agreement, more consensus in that whatever is going to be formulating, we know it's going to be named Sarah, is going to be clear, well, definitely lingering right there off the coast of Honduras. Definitely going to be bringing a lot of rainfall. They're going to be getting in on the brunt of it. Jamaica will be getting in on some, but nothing like what Honduras is going to be getting in on. And then when it's finally ready to push off, all courtesy of the high pressure that's building up, it's going to be making it into the Yucatan Peninsula, Belize, Mexico, northern Guatemala will be getting in on some of the rainfall. Then it's going to be heading into portions of the Gulf of Mexico and then back towards the north and east into Florida. We know that Florida has been hit by Helene, they've been hit by Milton, and now it looks like they're going to be hit by Sarah. I know there are a lot of Jamaicans who live or work in Florida, so I guess this is going to be the final thing that the Hurricane Center has to dish out in general before all is said and done on November 30. And we can definitely see the amount of rainfall that's expected. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until Wednesday, November 20. And we see the dark reds that represents up to 2 inches of rainfall. We see the purples that we can see by the key on the right that represents up to 3 inches, or maybe all the way up to 3.5 inches of rainfall. The pinks that represents 4 inches of rainfall into 5. The salmon colors represent 6 to 7 inches of rainfall. And the whitish to bluish colors that represents anywhere from 9 all the way up to what? Maybe the 20 inches of rainfall, like what the Hurricane Center was showing. And we see that the brunt of that should be right here across northern Honduras. We see that there's definitely been a shift in the amount of rainfall. If you remember, the past couple of days had a lot of the rainfall somewhere across the sea to the south or to the southwest of Jamaica. We're indeed grateful that the models have definitely shifted, but we're not out of the woods because we're still going to be getting in on some amount of rainfall. Clearly anywhere from 1 all the way up to close to what, 4 inches of rainfall, especially across the western end of the island. We see what the GFS is showing. Taking a look at the close-up of Jamaica, we can definitely see it even better. The Euro model right here showing the yellows into the oranges that represent anywhere from 30 all the way up to 60 millimeters of rainfall, especially after the water to the south and west of us. GFS definitely a bit more robust. Yes, we see the oranges, but we see the pinks and the reds that represents up to the 50 all the way up to maybe the 100 millimeters of rainfall, like what the Hurricane Center had highlighted. So we're definitely going to be getting on some amount of rainfall. Isolated flash flooding could definitely be possible, considering that the rainfall that we've been having for the past couple of weeks have already saturated the ground. So look out, flash flooding definitely going to be easy. If you see flooded roadways, always ensure that you turn around. try not to drown. We don't want to hear any more bad news coming out of this 2024 Atlantic hurricane season at all. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see that we still have a frontal system right here across the northern portion of the North Atlantic, stretching down into a portion of the Bahamas. We can also see that we have the tropical wave attached to the airflow pressure associated with potential tropical cyclone number 19, another frontal system stretching all the way from the northern portion of North Atlantic all the way down to the north of the main development region right there, and the line right here associated with the intertropical convergent zone. And we know, as usual, there's some kind of ridge of high pressure up here to the north that's responsible for sending all of the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. If we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can definitely make out the clouds associated with the frontal system right here, and definitely see the line of clouds stretching into portions of Cuba all the way to the north of the Caribbean right there. We can also make out the clouds associated with the intertropical convergence zone. We know the intertropical convergence zone is basically where the air from the northern hemisphere meets the air from the southern hemisphere, and then we have a lot of cloud buildup and showers and thunderstorms, not necessarily tropical waves or anything like that, but just a huge area of rising air. And we can definitely make out the clouds associated with potential tropical cyclone number 19 across the western Caribbean as we speak. We'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Wednesday, November 13, 2024. It was stated that parts of some eastern, central, and western parishes, and especially southern parishes, would have received rainfall today for sure. And just for reference, we know that eastern parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, like Portland, St. Thomas, Kingston, St. Andrew. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, like St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. While western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, like St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, and Trelawney. While our southern parishes, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. Before I even show what happened, if you remember yesterday's video, we highlighted on the Cuban Doppler radar images that there were some rain bands right there to the north of the island of Jamaica that would have made it, or could have made it, into portion of some northern parishes, and that was exactly what took place. Because if we take a look at the Doppler radar images that were posted at around 10:30 p.m., they definitely highlighted the greens into the yellows that represent some moderate, as we can see by the key on the right, to fuerte, that's heavy rainfall. And we definitely saw that affecting portions of Hanover, St. James, section of Trelawney, section of St. Anne, section of St. Mary and Portland, even section of Eastern St. Thomas, section of St. Catherine and Southern Clarendon getting in on the action as well. And if we take a look at what took place as the day progressed, the infrared satellite image was posted at around 3:05 p.m. even although we were getting in on some isolated showers here and there across the island. It was mostly partly cloudy in most of the spots across the island. Most of the rainfall definitely came in during the afternoon. But we saw what was posted on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica. By the way, I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page at Weather Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page at weather.jamaica, on our TikTok page at Weather Jamaica, and on our Facebook page at Weather Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there as we make posts throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we definitely saw the clouds bringing some overcast skies and some isolated showers. Even had some thunderstorms in there. We see the reds, we see the sparkling white dots, we see the blacks. Definitely some thunderstorms where across sections of some eastern, central, and western parishes. Look at the blow up of convection right there of the western portion of Hanover. So that definitely verified. And we saw that the most in the way of cloud cover was across sections of some southern parishes for sure. Definitely had some rainfall in Kingston when I was leaving from work today. And when I got to St. Thomas where I live, definitely was getting in on some amount of rainfall there too. So that indeed confirms the rainfall that was predicted for today, even although it was definitely less than what we saw for the past couple of days on the models. And that's because if we take a look at the infrared, the tropical wave, it was definitely somewhere right here this morning to the southeast of us, but it definitely went like this, more of an east-west kind of flow, even although many of the models were predicting that it would have went into the island. We're indeed grateful that the brunt of the weather associated with this tropical wave bypassed us to the south, but we know that we're not out of the woods yet, because this system is expected to develop somewhere in here close to the coast of Honduras, and then we know we're gonna be getting in on the clouds from the system still, so we're still gonna be getting on some amount of flood triggering rainfall before it has moved out of here. Alright, so let us take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before all was said and done with the day. We can definitely see that easterly flow across the island. Look at the low level flow, you can see the easterly or the east southeasterly flow, and we can definitely make out the clouds, the heaviest thunderstorms out to the south of the island. And then we saw that the day was done, but the infrared satellite images were showing that we still had some clouds coming in. Look at the high cold cloud tops, look at the blues, the greens, yellows, oranges, reds. Definitely some rainfall still even taking place across sections of some southern parishes, and I will highlight that in the current conditions shortly. But if we take a look at the crossroads camera right here at around 3:16 p.m. By the way, if you'd like to see live streams like this, you can visit See Jamaica on YouTube. They show crossroads 24/7. Not only crossroads, halfway tree, the Kingston Harbor, Flat Bridge, and they're planning on increasing the amount of cameras that they have in and around the island. So if I were you, I would definitely subscribe today so that I don't miss out. And we can definitely see that at around 3:16 p.m. on the crossroads cam, we're definitely getting some amount of rainfall affecting sections of St. Andrew crossroads for sure. We see well, the hills not really that visible to signal that we're definitely getting on the rainfall. We can see the rainfall pushing in from right to left. We can see people with their umbrellas if you look closely, and we can definitely see these vehicles with their windshield wipers on as we look on towards New Kingston. Definitely gotten on some amount of moderate to heavy rainfall this afternoon for sure, just as predicted. And even the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the CIMH, that's the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology, confirms the rainfall across sections of the island. All of this is definitely showing from last night into this morning as well as this afternoon. Definitely gotten on especially some isolated showers during the afternoon for sure. And we definitely have at least one comment here from one of our followers on our Instagram page, user.250404, stating light dew Portmore, and this was posted at 2 hours ago. Alright, so let us take a look at the latest still image. Let us see what's happening across the island right now. Let us stop it, and it is right here at 23:55 UTC. So considering that it's 7:06 p.m. right now, this is definitely the latest image from 6:55 p.m. Jamaica time. And we can definitely see that for the most part, we have some clouds, especially across sections of some southern and western parishes. So most of us not really going to be seeing the stars or any moon out tonight for sure. Some of those areas definitely possibly even seeing some isolated showers as we speak. Let us reload the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. Let us see what's happening across the island right now. Hopefully it hasn't glitched out or anything like that. It has been glitching out for the past month, boy. Let's see. Alright, seems to be up to date. Alright, there we go. The latest images as of 7 p.m. and considering that it's 7:07 p.m. right now, it's right on track. Just came out 7 minutes ago. Not seeing much happening across the island right now. Definitely in the clear for the most part right now. Most of these clouds that we're seeing don't have any amount of rainfall within them. We do see some isolated showers to the southwest of the island. Some rainfall right there to the south of eastern Cuba, to the west of the Haitian Peninsula, and some rainfall right there in and around the Cayman Islands. But some of you might be saying, but weather Jamaica, what about all of these greens and yellows that we see across portions of northern and eastern Jamaica? Don't pay that any mind. That is what I refer to as ground clutter. That's basically a glitch in the system. We'll know if it's actually rainfall, especially when we see the satellite image, well, matching with what Doppler radar images are showing. And for right now, we're not seeing that at all on land. If we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban naval radar imagery, we can make out some rainfall across eastern Cuba. The rainfall right there across the western peninsula of Haiti to the west out to sea, as we saw on the Cuban Doppler radar. And if we take a look at the Cayman radar, we can make out some isolated showers to the south of Cuba. Some of this rainfall coming into portion of the Cayman Islands tonight. We can see the heaviest weather to the south of Grand Cayman as we speak, with the dark greens and the yellows that represent the moderate to heavy rainfall. If we take a look at the latest Flatbridge cam, as of 7:08 p.m. we can definitely see people in their vehicles going about their business. The water not really as strong as it was for the past couple of days. Here we have a truck bending and making a turn live at 7:08 p.m. Will it make the turn? Oh, we have two of them. Let's see what takes place, because boy, this place is quite something else. Alright, a very good turn. Here we have another person right here making the turn. Okay, seems to be perfect. This is how the turn should have went the other day when they were carrying the equipment to clear the gorge. If you recall that video being posted on our other social media platforms. Yeah, have to take it wide for sure. So we can definitely see that as of right now, definitely dry, nothing taking place across Flatbridge at all. But that could definitely change in the coming days with the rainfall that's expected from future Storm Sarah. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can still have 26 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay and Kingston. And by about 4 a.m. on Thursday, temperature should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 25 degrees Celsius in Kingston. If we take a look at the temperature forecast for tomorrow, this map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Thursday when calculated. That's about 1 p.m. on Thursday, and we can see Jamaica right here embedded in some slight orange colors. And we can see from the key on the right, the slight orange colors represent up to 2 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. And one of the normal temperatures for the month of November across Jamaica are around 88 degrees Fahrenheit. 88 degrees Fahrenheit when calculated is about the same as 31.1 degrees Celsius. So given the rising temperature of about 2 degrees Celsius above normal, it should be anywhere from 31 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Thursday. So try your very best to beat the heat. If you're outside, seek shade. Please ensure that you eat fresh. Try eating cold food such as salads and fruits. Rest. Make sure you get enough sleep and rest if you are feeling tired. Soak. Take a cool shower or bath to help you cool down. And finally, I cannot stress enough how important it is to always keep hydrated. Drink lots of water. Put away the sugary drinks. Drink water instead throughout the day. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for... Did I already show the Saharan dust? Or do I feel like I already showed it? Or I didn't. Alright, so if we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Thursday, we can definitely see that we haven't had much change. We still have the brown colors right here stretching all the way from Africa across the main development region to portion of the Eastern Caribbean. And we notice that it's very vigorous the closer we get to Africa. But the more it gets to the Caribbean, the more it's starting to dissipate, the more it's starting to basically dwindle in general. So that's what's taking place these days. The Saharan dust cannot sustain itself, and that's what we want to see. We know the Saharan dust can cause very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses in some persons. And we want it to definitely be dwindling, even although we know it's definitely good for choking off these tropical systems. We'd rather not have it in our neck of the woods to make us sick at all. If we take a look at the wave forecast for tomorrow, we're starting to see that the waves are kicking up in and around the Cayman Islands to the north of Honduras, associated with that potential tropical cyclone. Definitely going to be kicking up the waves anywhere from 2 all the way up to maybe 5 meter wave heights possible. While the rest of the Caribbean, from Jamaica all the way to the Eastern Caribbean, getting in on those 0.5 meter wave heights, all the way up to 1.5 meter wave heights, as you can see by the lighter shade of blues, the darker shade of blues on the key on the bottom right. And that's due to the fact that the winds are going to be averaging anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 knots. We definitely see that broad area of spin associated with the potential tropical cyclone to the west and south of the island. Definitely going to be bringing more of a southeasterly flow into the island, which explains the more in the way of moisture that we're going to be experiencing. Definitely can see it even better right here. A moist southeasterly flow is definitely going to be experienced across the island, so look out for the rainfall, especially if you're in some southern parishes. Wouldn't be surprised if we get afternoon rainfall across northern or northwestern parishes as well. As usual, that's where all of the air is going to be piling up during the afternoon, so look out for that afternoon rainfall across northern Jamaica too. And if we actually take a look at the rainfall forecast maps now, this map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both valid for 9 a.m. on Thursday. And we do see the blues represent rainfall in and around the island. The GFS having some of the rainfall hugging the coast of the southern portion of the island as well as the northern and eastern portion of the island. The Euro showing more of the rainfall across the southern portions. We'll see exactly what happens at 9 a.m. Skipping ahead now to about midday, 12 p.m. on Thursday, we see what's taking place on both the maps. There should be rainfall affecting eastern, central, and western parishes. The Euro has more of the rainfall on the south coast. The GFS has most of the rainfall on the north coast. We also see some rainfall right there on the southern portion of Clarendon, southern St. Catherine. Going to be interesting to see exactly what unfolds, but as of right now, definitely some rainfall throughout the day for eastern, central, and western Jamaica. Skipping ahead now to 3 p.m. Not much change. We see the rainfall across eastern, central, and western parishes, more so central and eastern parishes on the Euro, with more whites on the west that represents the total rainfall. GFS showing more of the rainfall across western, northern portion of St. Catherine, Kingston, southern Clarendon, right there, maybe section of St. Thomas, Portland getting on the action for 3 p.m. And then by 6 p.m. we see it's definitely starting to get a bit more isolated. We see the blues represent rainfall across Clarendon, St. Catherine, southern St. Andrew, maybe Kingston, section of St. Thomas, section of northwestern St. Anne, Trelawney, section of St. James, sections of Westmoreland right there. The Euro model showing even more white. And we do see the isolated pockets of rainfall here and there across the island. Either way, we're going to be getting on some amount of rainfall within the next 24 hours. This map from the Euro and this map from the GFS are both showing all the rainfall that's expected from now up until 10 p.m. on Thursday. We're not saying that it's going to be raining all the way from now up to then, but within the next 24 hours, these are the spots that are going to be picking up the rainfall the most. And we know the most in the way of rainfall should be where we have the oranges into the reds. That represents anywhere from 0.75 all the way up to an inch of rainfall or more. And we definitely see the inch of rainfall, 0.99 of an inch, across section of Clarendon on the Euro. The GFS showing something similar, especially across western Jamaica right there, maybe Hanover, as well as Negrilla for sure. But clearly, there's gonna be rainfall somewhere from the east to the west across the island tomorrow. And with already saturated grounds, isolated flash flooding could definitely be possible. And we know we're in the month of November. We're in the final month of our rainy season. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to 50 millimeters of rainfall for the month. That's 2 inches. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 5 inches of rainfall for the month. That's 125 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific parish receives throughout the year in terms of rainfall, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and they'll show you that information. And you can use this nice graphic right here that I got from the Hurricane Center's website that does the calculation for the rainfall that we receive on the rain gauge from inches to millimeters. We know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall, so you can do the math yourself. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have that frontal system pushing southward, going to bring some rainfall to portions of the Turks and Caicos, maybe northern Hispaniola within the next 24 hours. Section of Cuba and the southern Bahamas already getting on some of the action. So too section of the southern Gulf states of the US. Section of Honduras already picking up on some rainfall. Some rainfall starting to come into portion of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama, Colombia. Sections of the ABC Islands, northwestern Venezuela getting on some of the action too. So too sections of the Windward Islands, and we're going to be looking at the Doppler radar images soon to confirm. But first, let us take a look at the northeastern Caribbean. So we can definitely see Some rainfall to the north of Puerto Rico associated with that frontal system that we highlighted. Some rainfall to the southeast of Puerto Rico as well. Keep in mind that this is valid for 7:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So this just came out 8 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:18 p.m. now. But if we load these images from about 1:25 p.m. today, we can see that portion of central and western and even eastern Puerto Rico, we're definitely getting some isolated showers today. We see most of this pushed off towards the south and east. Quite an interesting pattern. We usually receive an east to west kind of pattern. More than likely it's that frontal system to the north that's causing this. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, we see more of an east to west flow. Most of the rainfall right there heading into section of St. Vincent, section of the Grenadines, maybe Grenada later on tonight. Scrolling down, some isolated hit or miss showers taking place across Trinidad and Tobago. If we take a look at the wider view of Doppler radar images, we can see some rainfall in and around the ABC Islands. I'm sure they're happy about that. Section of western Venezuela. That rainfall that we saw on the Cayman radar, some rainfall to the east of Nicaragua. Colombia getting on some of the action. And regarding where most of the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, clearly wherever we have the dark reds into the purples and the pinks. So sections of eastern Colombia, western Venezuela, western Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, starting to get in on that potential tropical cyclone. Section of El Salvador, Guatemala, Belize, the Yucatan Peninsula, section of central and eastern Cuba, the southern Bahamas, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, section of the Leeward Islands, and we definitely see some rainfall in store for portions of the Windward Islands. It's places that we just mentioned, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, Trinidad and Tobago, section of southern and eastern Venezuela, Guyana, Suriname, French Guyana getting on some of the mix of the rainfall. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.